there is something subtly suspicious going on behind the scenes. Who am I kidding? There's lots of suspicious things, but I've become fixated on one topic in particular: flowers. Where flowers do have a myriad and one things to say in descriptions, what I want to focus on is what the people of Travail have to say. And the conclusion I've come to has brought me all the way to the Sea of Flowers. Trust me, you're gonna want to hear how it all ties together. This rabbit hole is extensive, but I will do my best to organize my findings in an orderly fashion. Disclaimer, this is only a theory, but also it's a leak-free zone. There will, however, be spoilers for the quests listed on screen. I know there are a lot, but we're going to be doing a lot of jumping around here. So, if you care about spoilers, leave now or forever hold your peace. Let's get down to work. For this theory, there are mainly 4 stories we'll reference: the Narcissenkreuz World Quest, The Legend of the Three Moon Sisters, the book Flowers for Princess Fischl, and Simulanka from the summer event Summertide Scales and Tales. You see, in these 4 stories, we find a recurring pattern that's been peppered throughout the entire game. To start off, in Narcissenkreuz and Simulanka, there's 4 core characters vital to the story. Now understand that retellings are fluid and vary from version to version, but most core elements will reappear in each, namely the main actors present, one actor isolating themselves by choice, and the presence of a garden. In Narcissenkreuz, we have Marianne as the princess, Narcissus as the evil dragon, the Oceanid Anne as the hero, and Seymour as the guardian. Since we're talking about Fontaine, I will mention this here as there's no other place to put it. There's an additional echo of the story within Earnshaw's dogs. They're named Prince, Princess, and Hero. While there's only 3 dogs, not 4, Earnshaw's daughter, Agnes, plays the role of the princess locked in a tower. Later, her daughter, La Noire, inherits the position and ownership of the doggos. The dogs don't actually have a role here, but their names identify which story is being retold. Back to the topic. Simulanka is refreshingly straightforward for Genshin's terms. 4 roles are assigned very conspicuously to 4 people. But remember, Anya, the author of the book, penned this story to change the outcome of fate. It was all to rewrite Durin's story. This means that this retelling is the furthest outlier of all the stories. For instance, though one of the 4 wasn't locked away, the princess to be rescued is still referenced elsewhere in Simulanka. The side quest with Fraubert and Chemist is all about the champion and the princess. But much like Anapasis, the princess wasn't even real, or in need of a dashing rescue. Now let's review our other 2 stories. In Flowers for Princess Fischl and The Legend of the Three Moon Sisters, we have our focus on just one of our 4 actors. The most important one, our princess locked away in her tower. First, let's identify our reoccurring themes. In the event on the Golden Apple Archipelago, Fischl's Mirage gives us a lot of content. Her island is structured around the 3 books named The Hymn of the Holy Land. It tells of Princess Fischl, who had such love for her people that she defeated an evil dragon and created a utopia of everlasting night for her subjects. This utopia is depicted as a world contained inside a crystal orb, or possibly inside a firmament. Though the story doesn't mention anything about a moon, night is the eternal domain of the moon. But the crazy thing is that one of the passcodes for opening the gate to find the sacred book is Sian mein sommernachtgarten, or rather, behold my summer night garden. A utopia of perpetual night was what the princess made for her people. Thus, we know the garden is in an eternal night. Now, the legend of the Three Moon Sisters is about a tragic event that caused the sisters to turn on each other. 2 were destroyed, and the last one retreated to a palace in the sky, aka our princess in a tower. Now, the moon and flowers have a strong connection. The Aranar by the Great Tree shares with us one story they heard from Anilat Palalotus. To summarize, these flowers are children of the moon. Thus, they only bloom at night. Another suspicious flower story is about Liyue's glaze lily, yet another night-blooming flower. Madame Ping shares that shimmer soil can only be found by digging under wild glaze lilies. And shimmer soil is an ingredient needed to make our imaginary pocket dimension, the Serenity Pot. I find this suspicious only because people are the creatures known for dreaming and imagination. Still don't believe me about the moon and flower connection? I have more. You see, Tainar is a descendant of the Tainar race that lived in Tule-Tula. This city is also known as the Moon Maiden City, as it is believed to have been created from the goddess of flowers' tears. And what does Tainari wear on his back? A crescent moon with 2 flowers in bloom. Combine that with the fact that Candace also wears a headdress with a crescent moon holding a single flower in its tips. Another fun fact for you. In the Sumeru Archon quest, Nahida identifies herself as the moon during the dream Samsara. And how ironic that she too was locked away, though not by choice. And in Nahida's teaser, Happy Birthday, the flower carriage that she rides is the sanctuary prison. Coincidence? No, I don't think so. Let's focus on this moon garden for a minute, because we do have more information. Marianne's abode reveals some features about this garden. First, she compares the flowers to children, just like the tale from the Nilat Palalotus. She follows this up with saying, you can't just let them grow any way they please, and from time to time, you need to remove pests. Now, if the garden she speaks of is all of Teyvat, and the children are indeed everyone living in Teyvat, this makes so much sense. The statement becomes, people cannot live simply as they want to. They have to be guided. Anyone else thinking about people's fate being written in the stars? And as a matter of fact, pests have been removed from the world. Dainsleif himself tells us that Conria was removed like a weed from the Garden of the Gods. Since I mentioned Conria, another interesting fact is that they built war machines called field tillers. If the world is a field and people are the crop, that's kind of morbid. But needless to say, the Eclipse Dynasty was likely aware of the Moon Garden. Shift gears a second to Narcissus, the evil dragon. The master foresaw a future in which mint nor sweet flower does not grow. I doubt this is about farming and growing food. In light of this garden metaphor, the common mint and sweet flower would mean ordinary people. Abundant as they are, no one would have survived the prophecy. In addition, the soul of Carter grows into a sunflower inside this apocalyptic space. Finally, Arlie's teaser video, the song Burning in the Embers, there are 2 references to people and flowers. A flame on the water that becomes a flower bud, from which the children of the orphanage spring from. And later, the previous knave talks about pruning a lumidus plant. Between the tone of voice and Pereware's anger towards this statement, the implication is that the prior knave was claiming Clarevy needed to be pruned before she had influenced Pereware, spoiling the crop. Believe me, there's more, but I've already made my point. Going back to Marianne, she makes note of one other thing. When she waters the flowers in front of Traveler, they grow instantly. She reasons that they grew so fast because there was someone to witness them. She actually uses the word friend instead of witness, but the meaning is the same. The flowers grew because someone was there to see them. And actually, most Ascension voice lines in-game attributes leveling up to the Traveler's work. I couldn't get this far without you, and are you sure you want to make me more powerful? Etc., etc. Combine that with the Traveler constantly being likened to the sun. The sun makes flowers grow. Need I say more? Besides, Simulacra slaps us in the face with the reality that we do not have a role. Alice gives us a good old shrug saying, we weren't assigned a role, but the story was simply too wonderful not to share. Think of people's stories, or rather their lives, as flowers coming into full bloom. Ever heard of a story unfolding? Anyways, as a matter of fact, Traveler has never been one of the 4 actors in the play, always the audience member. But though the sun has an influence on the environment, it remains far off, an observer, as you will. Whether that's giving people courage, becoming a focal point for others' ambition and power, or becoming the opportunity to act. That's the kind of catalyst Traveler has always been. We are not the hero of Tavad. Somebody should tell Paimon. In the Immernachtreich, rather the land of eternal deep night, theater is of great importance. Being assigned a role within the play is seen as the highest honor. This is in response to the princess's own words. Show me beautiful dreams in return for everlasting glory. Side note, could particularly beautiful dreams be rewarded with visions? And as a vision holder's story blooms, the brighter and more beautiful the, quote, flower, quote. What a sight these glowing flowers would make in her summer Nachtgarten. For potential actors in this Moon Garden play, let's speculate who they may be from features we've covered. For the sake of simplicity, I will use the roles from Simulacra. The King. They have the least to do in the play, sometimes even just sitting on the sidelines and sending others to do their bidding. Navia herself embodies this. In Simulacra, she mostly stands back and lets the people make the decision to choose their own fate. To me, this sounds like either the Scarlet King or King Ermin. They strove for humanity to make decisions for themselves. The Forest Fairy, or in other versions, the Guardian or Companion. Nilu's most vital role was to repair the land. This kinda has Seelie vibes. See, Seelies constantly aid us in revealing paths and helping us with environmental hazards like sheer cold or the withering. But this role might not be a single actor, but many playing the Guardian Companion. If this is the case, it might be like Fujin sacrificing her power to restore the land, just like many others. Rukkhadevata, Makoto, Andarius, Marcosius. Another interpretation can be found from Marianne's abode. The companion and guardian was Seymour, the silly dog, tasked with guarding the princess and obeying her every command. This description sounds more like Osvaldo von Hrafnevines, maybe even Dainsleif. I merely note Dane due to him being a companion to the Abyss Twin for years, and the fact that his life's mission is to run all over Tibet putting out abyssal fires. Abyssal plots. He's extremely bound by his purpose in life. The thief, or maybe the witch. By far the most ambiguous role. Kirara is a phantom thief that doesn't even steal anything. Then again, in Genshin stories, most thieves are noble of heart, like the Dagger Bandit or Parsifal. I lump a witch into this role for 3 reasons. Kirara is a cat-like creature and is plainly associated with the cat and witch stereotype. Narcissus, the evil dragon, was labeled as a thief in that he wanted to steal the princess's treasure. But in the Nint's Dream artifact set, it kinda implies that the bad guy could be either a dragon or a sorcerer. And in the unfinished comedy World Quest, Caterpillar tells La Noire a story wherein a witch wanted to take the purple flowers from the giant's garden. Throughout the quest, La Noire consistently calls the guards sorcerers. Obviously here, Alice and her girlfriends are prime suspects. They are constantly trying to bamboozle fate. The hero, or the knight. According to what we can glean from Wanderer and Fraubert the Froggy Champion, it seems like the hero is someone who doesn't want the role. Even little Oceanid, Anne, was reluctant to take the position of leader. Even though she labels travelers the knight, she was the one trying to save the princess and the one who made it to the end. Honestly, I don't think the hero has been identified yet. With Natlan having an emphasis on some kind of tournament, I think we're very close to figuring out who the hero is. All I know is that it's not the Traveler. Thank you, Simulanka, you made that painfully clear. But wait, we're out of roles here. That's true indeed, but I did mention earlier that the princess was only referenced in Simulanka. The princess's identity is the most important variable to the story. Dane himself will tell us to fight him for the right to save her, our princess, the one who's hidden away in their own little dream world for the sake of her people whom she loves. I believe she is one of the 3 Moon Sisters. Many people have speculated the identity of these Moon Sisters, but I'm only interested in the princess, who it could be. First of which is the Heavenly Principles, who prevents the twins from leaving Teyvat. She is also likely the one removing weeds from the garden. Second is the first heir of the kingdom in the heavens from the Gnostic Chorus Battle Pass. Though it's not likely she's a Moon Sister, she does lose her memories in the same way that Princess Lyris loses her treasure of time. Also, she now presides over the Kingdom of Darkness. Third is the Tsaritsa, mostly because her nation's core principle is likely love or bonds. And from the very little we know about her, she just might have locked herself away in her palace. There is so much speculation here, but maybe you have your own ideas who these 4 actors are. One other story I must mention is the Sea of Dandelions. As you know, in Travail trailer, we get a scene of the twins in a field of in Teyvat flowers. This field has already been confirmed as real during the bedtime story quest. The Abyss Twin found this field at the end of their journey, and they want us to reach the same destination at the end of ours. So why, oh why, is a field of flowers so shocking a revelation that the twin would then go on to support the Abyss? I don't yet have enough information for a solid answer, but there's a few things that make me suspicious enough to speculate. First off, is this field of in Teyvat inside the Locked Moon Garden? Not sure, but I spent a lot of time so far comparing people to flowers. If indeed the in Teyvat is a flower from the twins' homeland, Is it possible that these flowers are really their people? Remnants of their old world? I know how that sounds, but allow me to do a little more mental leapfrog. Marianne asks us about other flowers we've seen on our travels. However, the one she homes in on is the dandelion. Though this is a metaphor in comparing oceanid's qualities to the qualities of a dandelion, it does make a connection to the sea of dandelions. Personally, I don't think this story is another Princess in Quarantine. I mean, there's a fox and a foxling and some fox magic. It's a mess if you're trying to make parallels. However, this is the only story in which a man is turned into a flower, a dandelion. I'm just saying, these allegories are really starting to freak me out. So, if the Abyss Twin found a field of people from their old world turned into flowers, well, I'd say that's a pretty darn good reason to bring the fight to the Heavenly Principles. I want to give a very big thank you to Red Nasio. He's voiced hours of unvoiced questing in Genshin and saved me a lot of reading. You made reviewing Narcissan Crates and the Immunactarish again and again so much easier. And did you know that the title for Notland's 5.0 version is Flowers Resplendent on the Sun-Scorched Sojourn? I am absolutely losing my mind over here. Stop it with the flowers, Hoyo. I'm begging you. This is Einor Kraken. I gotta get out of here.